Dimitris, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Wow, that was a great segue to my presentation. Hi, everyone. My name is Dimitris, originally from Thessaloniki, so kind of close to where we are right now. I traveled all the way from Athens today, representing Google. We basically cover Greece, Bulgaria, Malta, and Cyprus, and we deal with a lot of advertisers. And what you just heard is actually quite true, because it just so happens that I just came with this on the plane today and nothing else. So be it maps, be it your boarding pass, or any other information you needed, I basically had it in my pocket. And that's just great. And basically, it may well be the norm these days, because everyone has a smartphone, not to mention other smart devices. But if you think about it, it's basically 10 years now, if the clicker does me the favor to actually work. It doesn't. Maybe I've switched it off. No. It says on, unless I have the wrong clicker. There you go. Thank you. So I was just saying that basically this picture is very familiar these days, and the smartphone has been here for the past 10 years. And what has done to us is that, and as consumers, it has changed our lives because we can do every single thing from the smartphone. But as marketeers, because that's the people that we talk to every day at Google, it has also changed the way that they operate their business and what they do with their marketing. Because this thing has changed every single aspect of their strategy. And I'll prove it, because this is what we see on Google Search. At Google, we have tons of data. We can see what people are searching in whatever country, whatever time of the day, from any device. And what we see here is the data for January to June 2017 as compared to 2 years back. And we see a dramatic increase for searches on mobile devices that have to do with where do I buy this product, which basically means that people and consumers are very, very demanding. They not only want to understand about the product more details, but they want to find it, they want to find out the price, if it is available, if it's on stock, etc. And we see that on the retail business, on the retail side of things. Here we see another stat, basically double the increase in same-day shipping searches. That's stats, again, from the US from last year, but I bet that this more or less happens in every single advanced economy of the Western world. But it just doesn't happen only on retail. As you just heard, I'm working quite closely with the travel industry, and there we see that we have more than double the increase in travel searches that have to do with tonight, today. And when you basically, let's say you're in Paris, you're in the middle of a trip, and you're trying to find what you're going to do, you basically may search for something like things to do in Paris. And of course, you probably feel that the results that Google should give you should have to do with today or tonight or the next few days. It doesn't need to tell you what happened in the past. So it's all relevant, it's all about now, and we also see it in other places, like you go again in one destination, as in Sofia right now, you want to check out what restaurant is open. We see triple the increase on open now related searches. So that has not only happened because of the smartphone, that has happened because all of the smart devices that we're using, and that doesn't have to do only with the devices and the technology. It's all about assistance these days. And I'm not really talking about the Google Assistant, and I'm not really talking about any kind of assistant in the form of like what you have on your smartphone. What we'll talk about today, and what I'll share with you, is quite simple. You will not hear about many sophisticated things. It's probably things that you know, but I'll just put it in context so that you understand what Google does and what we actually evangelize to our advertisers. And these are three important words. At Google, we're trying to be helpful, we're trying to be personal, and we're trying to allow consumers to have frictionless experiences. And that's across all of the properties, all of the products that we have, and all of the devices. And I'll give you three very simple examples. Talking about helpful, This is an example of Google Lens. It's an app that is obviously available on Android, but I bet it's available on iOS. And you basically point the camera to a monument, a site, or any other object for that matter, or almost any object, and it can basically tell you what it is. It pulls up the information card. This is Coit Tower. I take it is in San Francisco because we do a lot of marketing, US-based, but you can probably do the same thing here in Sofia. Just this afternoon, we were having lunch with a client, and as you can understand, the menu was in Bulgarian. Now, I don't speak Bulgarian, but you bet, just by using Google Translate and pointing the camera to the menu, I could read off the menu in English, Greek, or whatever other language I wanted. And that's very, very, very helpful. The second thing, talking about personal, really personal experiences. We see the emergence of all of the assistants, the digital assistants, that is. Here you see an example of that. And we basically try to adapt our products to the behavior of our consumers and serve them with not only the search results that are tied to their preferences, but also with any other thing related to their schedule, to their calendar, to their friends. You may have seen it in the application named Google Photos. Maybe you took a picture of your friend, and the app is asking you to actually, if you wanted to share it with that specific friend. So we're talking about personalization. And the last thing, talking about frictionless and talking about Google Photos, it's so funny because I love photography. A few years back, I would be obsessed about how I organize my digital folders with the location or by time, by date, or whatever. Nowadays, I just upload them. I don't even upload them, actually. It does it automatically. I just have it on the cloud. I just have it on Google Photos. And when I want to search about something, a specific location, or in this example, the word sunsets, there you go. You get back the results with all of the relevant photos that have to do with sunsets. And this is just amazing because it's so easy. And that's what we've done at Google for the past few years. It hasn't been me or my team. It's basically mostly the engineers that are working on our products. But what they've tried to do is that they basically moved from back in 2000, where we had mostly the 10 blue links, very standard interface, to more contextual answers around 2010, where we tried to get signals from what you've previously searched. We try to combine them with locations on the map and what have you, to nowadays, where we're actually concerned with actions. We want to make sure that we provide an assistive experience, and we anticipate your needs. In this specific example, you see the assistant, which is actually asking a very basic question to the user. The assistant knows that my sister's birthday is on Friday, and it's asking me whether I want for the assistant to actually make any reservation, any dinner reservation for that happening, which is just amazing because I didn't even ask for it. Maybe I don't need it. Next time, it will not ask me. Obviously, it will learn. And that's got to do with being assistive. And it also has to do a lot with technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and I think that you'll get to hear from other speakers until the end of the day for that. And what we have unique at Google is all of the different signals across of our properties. So here you see indicative examples. Each of these properties, be it Google Search, YouTube, Maps, or what have you, they have more than 1 billion users each at global scale. And imagine how many signals we can get from that for each and every user so that we can provide more tailored answers, more assistive experiences throughout all of the spectrum, the Google spectrum. So this is what we call assistance. And if we really want to just broaden our scope and understand what assistance is about, it's basically about helping people get things done. It's as simple as that. In the broad sense of things, it's about helping people get things done. In the marketing world, it's about anticipating what users may need and actually serving them. Exactly that. And I'll give you an example. This is Wayfair, a very well-known US retailer. They also have e-commerce, etc. And instead of having to go to the actual department store, which would probably be based in some weird road outside of the city of any European or US city for that matter. And you have to go through the catalog, through the aisles to get the chair, to buy the chair, to get the chair to your apartment, and to see whether it would look nice. There you go. You just have an app, you point the camera, and just like that, you see how it looks like in your own living room. Now, just think about how assistive this thing is. So Assistant is the new battleground for growth, and I think that all of the companies should be thinking in that sense. And I'll give you some examples in terms of how we exemplify how you can be assistive, what we are using basically as our narrative to all of the advertisers that we collaborate with. Here are some more examples. I'll just pick on Starbucks, just in the interest of time. I don't know how many of you know the order and pay feature that they have on their app, but it's basically a feature that allows you to order your coffee before even getting to the department, to the coffee store, and pay for it. And you don't have to queue, you just walk in, you get your cup of coffee, your latte or whatever, and there you go. Now, this represented 10% of the US sales that Starbucks did in 2017. Anybody knows what's the global revenue or US revenue of Starbucks for last year? Any wild guess? Global revenue for Starbucks last year? 30 billion. That's close. It was 22 billion. 15 of them happened in the US. This app, this feature, channeled 10% of that, 1.5 billion. It's amazing. Just because it's very assistive. You don't have to queue up. So what we evangelize is the following. 3 main things. Show up, wise up, speed up. And I'll go very quickly with one example in each so that you can better understand what this is about. First, you just have to show up. Allstate is an insurance company, and what they did is basically they used some of the signals of their customers to understand which were the most valuable ones to them, and through their digital channel, they focused on actually leveraging these and only these. They stopped acquiring new customers, which is more or less easy on the internet rather than offline, and they focused on these big sharks, let's call them. And they had 4 times the cross-selling capacity just by doing that. So they showed up to what was really relevant to those customers that were more valuable to them. Another thing, wise up, the second big thing that we evangelize. Think about Kayak, very well-known travel brand, meta-search, and what they did is that instead of just showing up, only showing up on the queries related to travel, they basically draw some insights from what people are searching related to travel in the specific geography that they launched this campaign in the US. So people were searching for all sorts of things, like how do I get to Europe with a flight of less than $100? And that's exactly what they tried to answer. They used all of their insights, they created videos with those answers, and that's what they launched as a campaign on YouTube in order to fulfill the interest of the very demanding customers that didn't even want to bother searching for those flights. They just wanted to ask the query, where do I go with $100? And there you go. They lowered their acquisition costs by 80% just by focusing and wising up the whole search attitude. And lastly, talking about speed. Now, who has been on a website that loads up very, very slowly and you get to be bored by the end of it? Like, seriously, 53 of visits are abandoned when a mobile site takes longer than 3 seconds to load. And that has happened for each and every one of us in this auditorium, I think. And the wild thing is that right now, or actually this is from 2017, the stat that you see here, this is the average time that it takes for a mobile site or a mobile page to fully load. 15 seconds. Imagine, 15 seconds, that's quite a long time. And you know that as of this summer, those of you that are really into what Google is doing, we're basically going to be factor that in, the speed of the website, on how we rank the organic results on our search results. So it will be even more important. And I'll lend the example of Domino's just to end the presentation of how they speed it up. Back in 2008 or so, it used to take 15 or more steps for one consumer to complete a purchase of a Domino pizza online. More than 15 steps. And I guess it had to do with creating an account, putting down your mobile number, your address, choose the toppings or what have you. Nowadays, it takes less than 5 clicks to order a pizza. I don't know if you've tried it, but I hear that it's pretty amazing. I'm not a fan of Domino's Pizza, but anyway. And there are more than 15 ways to actually order a Domino's Pizza online without even interacting with a human. And it seems that it's paying off because 60% of their sales are online. Half of that is through a mobile device. 30% of orders are happening from a mobile device. And I know that it's not as if you're buying a car. It's not as if you're buying like maybe a flight, which is again more expensive than a pizza, but still 30% of sales happen online and happen on a mobile device. And they have found a way to actually make it much faster than anything else out there. So in this crazy world where you have loads of signals about your consumers and loads of hypotheses on what to do with each and every segment and each and every product and create a strategy, we just take care of these 3 things: show up, wise up, speed up, and just to make sure that you are assistive. Because you are competing right now with the best possible experience that these consumers have had out there, and you need to have a way that you stand out. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest.